Hey guys, welcome back to Trap Pod. It has been a very long time. I missed you. I'm glad that you're back. We are going to get back into the political game just in time, one day before the midterms. I am going to give you all of my locks so that you can hold me accountable come Wednesday morning. First thing that we are going to cover is the Senate, where I have the GOP taking a 56-44 majority. Now, I may be the only person in the country that actually has that big of a majority. Most have the GOP barely getting a majority, if not ending up 50-50 again. But I'm going to go over mine right now. And like I said, feel free to hold me accountable on Wednesday morning. My locks for the Senate. These ones are people who already hold their spot. So there's no gains here for the GOP. But they are ones that a lot of Democrats and liberals alike have basically been hoping would go their way. I'm sorry to tell you, they're not going to. First one is Wisconsin. Johnson will defeat Barnes. I know a lot of people from my old hometown in Wisconsin are hoping that Barnes would win. They, for some reason, enjoy these political activists like Barnes, these social justice warriors, but Barnes will fall short again. Johnson will spend the next 6 years in the Senate. North Carolina, Bud will defeat Beasley. Florida, Rubio will not leave the Senate. He will defeat Val Demings. And lastly, of the locks, Utah, Mr. Lee will defeat McMullen. He will serve another 6 years also. Now, on to the more sexy races. Big matchup in Ohio where J.D. Vance will defeat Ryan. Next, in Nevada. Nevada is not a sexy place, but it is a sexy race. In Nevada, Laxalt will unseat Cortez Masto, picking up 1 seat for the GOP. Next, in Arizona, Blake Masters, with the backing of the independents, who just were told by the independent candidate who was polling at about 6% and just dropped out of the race and decided to endorse Blake Masters. He will get those votes. He will pass Kelly, and Blake Masters will take that seat in Arizona. Now we get on to the two big ones. Pennsylvania. Dr. Oz will defeat Uncle Fester Fetterman. It won't be that close. But let's be realistic, folks. This isn't a seat pickup. This was a vacated Republican seat, so it's just a hold for the GOP. But let's just be honest. Fetterman would have been a disaster. I mean, there isn't a person watching this that isn't smarter than that dumbass. Lastly, Georgia, the big boy. The one that everybody was talking about in 2020, when you had Warnock win in a runoff, and that it shaped the entire Senate as we know it right now. Well, that will not happen again. Herschel Walker will overcome all the drama, all the turmoil, and he will defeat Raphael Warnock. He will also get more than 50%, thus avoiding a runoff in December. You heard it here first. Now, on to the surprises. I do have 3 surprises in the Senate. First one, Tiffany Smiley in Washington is going to unseat Patty Murray. This is going to send shockwaves through the Democrat Party. They are going to now realize that even in their strongholds, they are no longer safe. Next, New Hampshire, Bolduc is going to unseat Maggie Hassan. This, again, is going to just terrify the Democrats. They funneled millions and millions of dollars into these races because they realized that places that they typically could just completely rely on, they no longer can. That one, actually, Bolduc, we'll probably hear about that before Smiley, so that'll actually be the catalyst for the red tsunami that's coming. And lastly, one that I don't think anyone sees coming, O'Day in Colorado will unseat Bennett. That will bring the total in the Senate to a majority of 56 for the GOP and a minority of 44 for the Democrats. thus ensuring that Joe Biden won't be able to destroy our country any further. Now, let's move on to the governors. I saved the governors for last because there's a lot of surprises that I have for you guys. A lot of ones that you did not see coming. But you'll be thanking me later. Let's start with the locks with the governors, because I know a lot of the Democrats they were hoping and praying that, oh, maybe we could beat DeSantis, maybe we could take Texas. I'm here to tell you, ain't gonna happen. Ron DeSantis is the most popular governor and maybe most popular politician in the entire country, and he will win easily over Chris in Florida. Next, Governor Abbott, same thing. Nobody in Texas outside of Austin likes Beto O'Rourke. The guy's a loser. None of us like him. None of us want him here. We all want him to move to California. That's why the people in Austin like him, is because 90% of them are from California and they don't know any better. They freaking elected Gavin Newsom's stupid ass. So that will be an absolute disaster for Beto O'Rourke. This will be his third political loss. Hopefully he goes away forever. Lastly, of the big governor's races that are absolute locks, Georgia, Kemp will beat Stacey Abrams, and it won't be particularly close. It'll be 8+ points, I guarantee you. Stacey Abrams is a horrible human being, she's a horrible politician, and she, hopefully, just like Beto O'Rourke, will just disappear from here. Now, let's move on to the surprises for the governors, because I know some of the people here are going to be like, I think Peter might have gone a little bit crazy. But I didn't, I assure you. First one, Wisconsin. Michaels will defeat Tony Evers. This will send shockwaves through the state of Wisconsin, because I know that you guys like the old, teacher, whatever the hell he did for a living, Tony Evers. He's an awful governor. He's going to get his comeuppance because he did horrible things to you guys during COVID. Your state could be so much better. You could be making so much more money. You could be so much more prosperous, but you got to get that dumbass out of office, and you will tomorrow. Next, Nevada, Lombardo will defeat Sisolak, unseating another Democrat. Now, obviously, Nevada's not as sexy as a lot of the other states. I get it, but it is still a flip, and it will still be a surprise for a lot of Democrats. The next one, Kansas. Kansas, everybody thinks Kansas is a very Republican, GOP-leaning state. Well, they also have a Democrat for governor, but not for long. Schmidt will defeat Kelly in Kansas also. Now, on to the shockers in the governor's races. I got a bunch of them for you guys. You're not going to want to miss these. So, let's start in New Mexico. Again, another place where it's not that sexy, but it is very Democrat. Now, I have the Republican, Ron Chetty, defeating the incumbent Democrat, Grisham. Next, we go to Oregon. Everybody's like, Peter, you can't be this crazy. You can't think the GOP is going to take Oregon. Oregon is basically just another extension of California. They're right there with Washington, California, Oregon, hippie paradise, all liberals. You got Antifa. You got all these like crazy blue and purple haired crazy people all over the place. They would never vote for a Republican. Well, they will. They are going to replace Kotick with Drazen come tomorrow evening. Now, on to Minnesota again. Peter, what are you doing here? Like you're saying Washington, now you're saying Minnesota. We're not really going to think that Walz is going to get defeated in Minnesota. Absolutely we are, and I am absolutely predicting it. Walz will be defeated by Jensen in Minnesota. It's time for Minnesota to start realizing what life is like on the other side. The better side, happier side, prosperous side. Next, Michigan. Jesus. Peter, I get it. I bet you're watching this and you're thinking, this guy's an idiot. He's nuts. Michigan is even more Democrat. They got Detroit. They're even more Democrat than Minnesota and Wisconsin. There's no way they're going to get rid of Whitmer. Whitmer was great. No, she wasn't. Whitmer was only worse than Newsom and Cuomo during COVID. That's it. It went Cuomo, Newsom, and then Gretchen Whitmer right there in third place as the nation's worst governors over the last 2+ years. So Gretchen Whitmer will be unseated by Tudor Dixon. Congratulations, Michigan. You may actually have a bright future in front of you. Now we get on to the two big shockers. First off, Pennsylvania. Everybody on the left is saying this is an easy win for Shapiro. They're even admitting there's a possibility Oz beats Fetterman, but it'll just be a split ticket. Shapiro's going to win. I'm going to say the opposite. I'm going to say Dr. Oz will carry Shapiro across the finish line. Shapiro will make a massive comeback. Most polls have him down by anywhere from 7 to 10 points. I have him pulling the upset. Mastriano becomes the next governor of Pennsylvania. And lastly, this is the biggie. This is the big one. And you guys are going to be like, this dude has lost his damn mind, because the people in that state lost their damn minds. They allowed a governor who they had to have removed because he's basically a sexual predator. They tolerated that guy. There's no way they're going to put a Republican in. These guys hated Donald Trump, and he was one of them. I'm talking about New York, where Lee Zeldin is going to defeat Kathy Hochul. Kathy Hochul is an awful governor. She was not elected. She was picked. She was placed into the governorship. Kathy Hochul's a horrible human being. Kathy Hochul's a horrible politician. And Kathy Hochul will be a horrible retired nobody after tomorrow night. So those are my predictions. Those are a lot of big ones. Like I said, we are basically going to go with Johnson in Wisconsin, Budd in North Carolina, Rubio in Florida, Lee in Utah, Vance in Ohio, Laxalt in Nevada, Masters in Arizona, Oz in Pennsylvania, Walker in Georgia, Smiley in Washington, Bolduc in New Hampshire, O'Day in Colorado for the Senate. And for the governors, we have DeSantis in Florida, Abbott in Texas, Kemp in Georgia, Carrie Lake. I didn't even mention Carrie Lake. Oh, man. I'm sorry, folks. We got to go a little bit longer because I got to talk about the queen bee, the superstar of the GOP, Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake is going to absolutely destroy Katie Hobbs. Katie Hobbs wouldn't debate her, and now that is going to be a punishment. The voters in Arizona are going to speak, and they're going to speak loudly. Carrie Lake is going to win by double digits. Carrie Lake is going to become the superstar of the Republican Party come tomorrow night. You write it down. Write that down right now. That is going to happen. That is a guarantee. Carrie Lake will win. She will be a star. And I'm going to go through the rest of them right here. So Carrie Lake gets added to the governors out of Arizona. Michaels in Wisconsin. Lombardo in Nevada. Schmidt in Kansas. Ronchetti in New Mexico. Drazen in Oregon. Jensen in Minnesota. Dixon in Michigan. Mastriano in Pennsylvania. And last but not least, probably the most important one, Lee Zeldin winning the great state of New York. Like I said, feel free to tell me how much of an idiot I am come Wednesday morning. Enjoy, everybody.